All right, Huey, welcome to your March Madness interview. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm just curious just to start out, like, how are you doing and where are you at right now?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm in Stamford, Connecticut, coaching about feels like a million teams, but doing well. Just making it through the winter hockey season, which is good.
Okay, so what teams are you coaching right now?
I'm coaching a U10 girls hockey team. I coach at a prep school in Greenwich, so I coach their middle school team and their high school team. I'm coaching the U20 national ball hockey team now. I'm doing a bunch of private lessons, so it's a lot of coaching, all
Nice.
in one.
That's awesome that you can stay connected kind of during like COVID times with all these teams and I mean sports are so important and getting that community. So I'm glad that your teams can still be together.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, been really fortunate, thank God.
I was curious. So how did you get into hockey? And what kinds of hockey do you play?
So I laced up the skates when I was 4. My parents brought me to a rink in Colorado to learn how to skate, and it ended up being a learn to play program for hockey. So by accident, I guess, just fell right into playing ice hockey. I didn't stop after that. So I grew up in Connecticut. So I went to the Gunnery, which is a little boarding school. Played hockey there, soccer, lacrosse. Went to Elmira College where I played ice hockey and lacrosse. And then the past 3 years, I played on the Connecticut Whale in the NWHL. So lots of hockey in my life. And then got into ball hockey about, oh gosh, 3 years ago now, I think. One of my Whale teammates told me I should try it out and then fell in love. So here we are.
What are some of the differences? I mean, like I grew up playing ice hockey too, and then switched over to ball hockey like to playing both like 10 years ago. What are some of the differences you notice between like ice hockey, ball hockey, that like transition period between playing something on ice for so many years and then switching over to ball hockey?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's definitely a lot of the rules and the systems and like the style of play are pretty similar. Obviously, you're not on skates, so you have to put in a lot of effort to get where you need to be. And I think that's the biggest change from ice hockey to ball hockey, right? So, like on skates, you can kind of glide into where you need to be. For ball hockey, I think running into position is a big transition, especially, for ice hockey players. That and when I first started playing the offsides rule, where you pull it in and then the zone opens up, I was so confused for so long. But those were the only two like big changes that I had to adjust to.
Yeah, and the if you're gliding on like ball hockey, you're not moving.
Yeah,
You
you're
find
stuck.
yourself just like standing around because you
This is
just
not where I'm
gliding.
supposed to be. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What about like stick handling with like puck versus ball? Did you find that transition pretty easy?
I found that easy, but like I like grew up playing street hockey, like with my dad and my brothers, and we went camping all the time. Or playing street hockey with random people. So for me personally, it wasn't too bad because I've done it growing up. Um, but it's definitely different than ice hockey. It's a lot more choppy when you're with a ball. You kind of have to hit the ball more than pulling it, as versus like with a puck. They're both fun, and you can be creative either way, which I love. I'm a big stick handler, so I was happy about that transition.
Nice. It matters to me too, like which ball I think we use, like the world ball versus like a tournament ball versus like
Yeah,
some of the balls that are like made for like colder weather or whatever. It also matters, I think, for that compared to a puck at least, and like how much it seems similar to a puck.
yeah, yeah. You kind of have to adjust depending on where you are for a bit. Whereas hockey, you're like you already know what you're gonna get, unless it's like a soft puck or there's different things, but
Yeah. And you were mentioning you grew up playing with like siblings and your dad, and so how many siblings do you have, and what kind of you just play street hockey like in your backyard or something, or what was that like?
Yeah, yeah. So I have two younger brothers. One's 22 now, one's 18. But my dad actually, when we moved to a new house in Connecticut, it had a gravel like driveway. Didn't stop us. We like played street hockey in the gravel, like shooting rocks at each other. But once we got the driveway paved, my dad actually got it paved into like a square so that we could play like street hockey with nets and like a regulation size area. So yeah, that was my street hockey at home with the boys.
As like the oldest sibling, did you get to determine like who was the goalie and stuff, or like did
Oh
you
yeah.
have a goalie?
Oh yeah. It was always the baby. It was always the baby, Trev.
Did your youngest brother end up being a goalie, or did
No,
was he?
no, definitely not. Especially after gravel. Like, we're shooting gravel and balls at him. So I was like, not doing it.
That's incredible. So I mean, from the street hockey, right? Like from like the driveway to both the NWHL and then to international ball hockey tournaments. It's just like an incredible kind of story. So I was curious in terms of like how does some of the international ball hockey stuff, because I've had the privilege of playing those, like how does that compare to like an NWHL season or an NWHL like playoff time?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It's definitely different because the sports are different, but the like intensity of it, like everyone's out there like working their hardest, like it's like a physical sport. Like my first game at Worlds, I like went back to my room like covered in bruises. I'm like, oh my God. And then like it's the same as like playing in the WHL, like it's fast, it's very skilled, like you can tell people know what they're doing and have done this for a long time. And it's just like really impressive, like to be a part of that and to play in like high level games. Like it's just the quickness of both like ball hockey at an international level and like the NWHL are just like at the highest level, which is really, really exciting to be a part of. But yeah, like the training and stuff, like that's all the same too. I mean, when I like train for ball hockey, obviously I run run more. For ice hockey, I'm like I'm not into the running too much. Um, More of like a bike type of training. But so like that's the biggest difference. But like all the movements and like the lifting and like the training programs are pretty similar. So it's a nice transition from one to the next.
Do you play the same like style of game in your ice hockey and ball hockey? Like, or how would you describe like what type of player you are?
I don't know. I think pretty similar. I'm more of like I like to be creative, so like I like to stick skills. I like to see like make plays. Um, I don't know. Ball hockey, I definitely think I try to be more creative than I do on the ice. I think just because in the NWHL, like you're just trying to like really make good plays. Like there's not too much room for messing around or like trying something new, right? But like with ball hockey, I feel like there's more room to like be creative to get around people or to like get the goalie to move out of their position. But yeah, I don't know. I think my style of play from one to the next is very similar. Um, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is for me as well. Like it's quite similar, and I hadn't thought about the idea of being able to be a little more creative in ball hockey. It's one that, especially internationally, the rink is huge.
Yeah.
The rink is like ginormous.
Yeah.
And even if you're not playing on like a big rink, it's a little slower in that sense because you're running and not skating. So I hadn't thought about that, but it's an astute observation.
Yeah, it's a lot more like one-on-ones in ball hockey. It's like always one-to-one. You have a little bit more room, whereas hockey, people can, or ice hockey, people can just like join real quick. So you have a little bit more time.
Yeah, that's interesting. So are you a morning person or a night owl?
That's a great question. I definitely not a morning person. I wake up in the morning because I have to, but I don't enjoy it, Like once I'm up and like good and like can do my lessons, like energetic, and then I'm like, I need a nap like right away. So I guess, but I also don't like being up so late. I don't know. I'm like a day person. A day person.
Yeah, I wondered about that too, especially with training too. Like when you train, do you train like morning, middle of the day, or evening? Like I think people have like different preferences there too.
Yeah, that's funny. So I train with like my roommates in the whale, and that for before the bubble was really early, like 6 a.m. Um, and I love that. Like then I'm like workouts done, like I feel great. And then post bubble and like this weird part, like wherever we are right now, I find myself working out at like 10 to 11, but all my jobs are in the afternoon, so I have that free time to
Mm-hmm.
work out. So
Yeah,
it's not like
I used to
real,
like. Sorry.
I don't have like a real preference, like morning, afternoon, day. I think I'm too tired by the end of the day to lift, so I don't get the most out of it, but I'll do what I can.
Yeah, that's why I used to love like afternoon workouts, and then I did some morning ones and was like, oh, wow, like that was my first decision of the day, and now I'm
Yeah,
done. Like this
you're
is
like,
great.
hey,
I can
check.
do whatever I want the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, it's tough to like get it, get your brain functioning, but like once you're there, you're like, all right, I can make this happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you think you talked about like the creativity with your stick handling and like the moves and then kind of that like vision and hockey? Like, do you think you got that on the just playing street hockey, like growing up with your family? Do you think you got it like from when you were playing like in your, whatever growing up? Like, do you think you picked that up in high school, college? Like, where do you think you got that creativity?
Definitely a lot of it is from playing street hockey, just like for fun. Like at that point, I didn't know street hockey would be this, international thing. We're just playing, like keeping away from my brothers. One ball, like it's gonna be mine, like I don't know that like pond hockey, I think is another one where like you have to be creative to get around people. There's not like you're not making amazing plays when you're playing pond hockey. You're just trying to be as creative and have fun with it. And I grew up playing a lot of street hockey and a lot of pond hockey. And I thought it was cool, obviously, when like you do a great move, and then when you go to play with like your organized team, your youth team, or like my high school team, like you try it out there, and once that starts working, then you can do it more. But I don't know. I don't know. I like having control of the puck and if people or the ball. And if I have to do something weird or crazy to get control of that or to get around it, then I'll attempt it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I probably won't try it again that day.
That day.
Yeah.
Right, I might work on a different defenseman.
Yeah. Try someone else.
Exactly. So have you ever dealt with like a long stretch of not playing, like kind of like we're in a little bit now, and like if so, how did you deal with it, and how are you currently dealing with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like fortunately, I haven't really been too away from like a rink or playing. I guess this year has been weird. I haven't played the last game I played in was in the bubble. We didn't play any games up until then. Haven't played any since then. So it's been different. I mean, I'm on the ice like all day, every day, so it's not too weird. I play in like a men's league game, like once a week, which is a lot of fun. Practicing with the whale like keeps it, we have fun there. So fortunately for me, I haven't been too far away, but I keep I keep hockey in my life regardless, whether it's coaching or, when I go to the gym, I still do like hockey workouts. Yeah, I don't know. I've been fortunate to not really be too far away from the game.
Yeah, that's definitely fortunate, kind of given the circumstances of this year, since like such a crazy year, but like, and it's been so isolating too, right? So it's like nice that
Yeah,
y'all can have that community still,
yeah,
kind of regard like
hmm
given the circumstances.
yeah. I mean, I live with three of my teammates too, so it's like we're all doing the same thing, going to the same places.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's still like I have my own little team here. Like I'm not like always a part of something, which is great.
Yeah, that's huge.
Mhm.
Um, and uh, with you talked a little bit about like kind of the creativity being from some of like the unstructured time, so pond hockey or like time in like in your backyard or whatever, the paved driveway. Like when you think about like the teams that you're coaching, do you see kids getting unstructured time? Do you see kids like not getting unstructured time? Like how does that compare to kind of like what you were doing growing up, versus what you're seeing with kids now?
Yeah, so it's definitely different from like when I was a kid, like learning all this stuff versus now. Like a lot, like even like practice structures and stuff like that are so different. Kids these days, like it's all skills. Like they'll all like even in my private lessons, and like I never really did private lessons when I was a kid. I have my driveway. But like it's all just like stick work and skills and learning how to shoot and doing all these like great moves to get around things, and like that's like your practice is based off these skills. Whereas like when I look back on when I was growing up, like I remember doing like some skills in like structured practices, but it was more like flow and like gameplay and small area games, and like so it's definitely interesting to see kids these days because it is a lot more skill like with these kids, and like they've got great stick skills. They've got great skating ability. I think that's definitely something I lacked growing up. I didn't work on my edges as much as these kids work on their edges these days. It's really cool to see. But then when kids go to games, like you don't see all this creativity that you would get from if you like know that a kid is outside stick handling around all his siblings or her siblings. Um, so I don't know. It's different. It's been a different type of like programming, I guess. But it's a lot of creativity these days. I know like I steal drills from Instagram, like from these coaches who are just are so creative with how to teach how to do like different things, and kids are like doing moves that I didn't do when I was 10, like it's pretty cool. It's come a long way, which is very exciting.
Yeah, it is cool to see that progress. And you just know like the next generation coming up is going to be like that much, better, like you said, at the edges, or that much better with the stick
Yeah,
handling. They've seen it now, right? And then they can just improve on it.
yeah,
It's really
it's
cool.
really cool. It's really cool.
Kind of along this line, so did you go straight from college into the NWHL? Or did
Yeah.
you, yeah. I was curious, and if you think like, like the students, like your U10s, right? And thinking about, when they get up to the, NWHL, like that group is like, ready and primed to get into the NWHL. Like, what
Yeah,
do you
they
think
better
will be
be.
what do you think will be the differences, in 10, 15 years, for the NWHL?
I don't know. I mean, the league has done so much the past 6 years. And like they're all little bits each year get better. In 10, 15 years, like I hope with the direction we're in now, like it should be going really, really well. Um, we're already looking into adding like more teams, like expanding, like people are interested, people are invested in it. And we've got the players, which is great, and like a ton of people who want to play and are talented enough to play. I would love to see my little U10s out there in 15 years. That'd be great. So hopefully, I mean, like girls and women's hockey has grown so much just in like my past 3 years playing in the league. Um, so it's really exciting to see. But time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It's so interesting to think about, like, the growth that the league's already had, and then like the possibilities, as it goes forward, especially from your perspective of like how you're coaching,
Mm.
kids now that are,
Yeah,
going to be, doing some great things,
yeah.
probably both in and out of hockey, which is really cool.
Mm.
Um, so I was curious. I want to know what advice you would give your 20-year-old self. No, you're not that far from 20, but like what advice, if you could kind of say to yourself, like, Huey, like, here's my advice to you at 20, what would you say?
At 20. Where was I at 20? I was in college. Um, probably sophomore and junior year, I think. Oh man, I don't know. At that point, like I was in college and I was so determined to like be successful at Elmira and like just like work hard and like I at that age like I was like determined to make it to the final four by my senior year. I was like, whatever happens, like we are making it to the final four. Like, I don't know. And we did, which is great. So it worked out. But like I was like in the gym, I was so determined. And I think advice from now till then, I think would be to relax a little bit. It's not like the end of the world. Like I was like, we need to do this. So I think just like enjoy the little things, because even though like fortunately like I still am playing and I'm still going to the gym to like train for things, and now like playing on the national ball hockey team, like so everything's still going. But I think just enjoying the moment and like enjoying being a part of each team that you're on. So I've been on a lot of teams, and when you're on a team, like sometimes you forget that eventually you won't be on that team, and like people will leave, and you'll get new people. It changes every year, but just to like enjoy the company, I think a little bit more, less focused on like myself and my goals.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a tough question. 20
it's
years
such an
old.
I know, right? It's such interesting kind of advice, right? Because like, a lot of times we play hockey, we want to win, like we want to like get all these, accolades and get to the
Yeah,
finals and so on. And then when you really look back on it, like what you remember are like those moments with your teammates, like the
yeah,
funny times in the locker room, the like silly thing that someone did in the weight room or like whatever.
yeah,
And those are the pieces. But when you're in it, it's so hard to like think that
yeah.
way.
You're like,
It's
end goal, end goal. Like, what do I do to get there? And now it's just
yeah,
like, I don't even like, we lost in the finals. I'm like not upset about it anymore. Was then. But like, I made it. It's like not even a big deal anymore. It's like all my friends from that team, that was like the most important part.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
like yeah. It's in the moment, those like, I've lost in the NCAA finals as well, and like it's crushing, right? But like
Yeah,
when you look back on it, you're like, oh, I was the team that I really cared about, and it was like the
yeah,
journey to get there, and like all the pieces that have gone into that, and then all the
exactly.
lessons that you learn from that too. Like
Mhm.
it's a good life lesson to like get
Yeah,
somewhere for something you really want and then not get it.
absolutely. Been there.
Also, yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough, but you got to learn it at some point.
yeah,
So there is, I think that the community piece and the aspect of just like, being able to like just enjoy your teammates is important. And you also talked a little bit about like how you were super dedicated, during that season, and really like working hard in the weight room and on the ice and so on. And I was curious, like in terms of like the March Madness stuff, like stick handling every day actually does get you better. So like,
yeah.
I was curious, like, what advice do you have for those that are going to be watching and going along with the stick handling? Despite not being able to be on the ice, I think you're quite lucky in that. So like
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are still not able to either play their league games or whatever
Mhm.
yet. Hopefully soon. But what advice do you have for folks who are trying to keep that stick handling up despite not being able to play as often?
Yeah, I mean, my my advice is just do it, honestly. Like, it's not like that hard when you think about it. Like, if you have a stick and a ball, like I could stick handle here, like during this meeting, just like to play with the ball. Like, and like I get like it's a lot harder for other people and you don't have the space and all that. Like, but to me, like to me, there's like no excuse to like not be able to stick handle, like if you're watching TV, you can stick handle. Like I know it's tiring and you're like, had a long day, like I don't want to stick handle. But like it's gonna make a huge difference. And I hope my U20s are watching this because you guys should be stick handling every day. Like it's not hard. And if you have like 5 minutes, even like a minute of stick handling, like you're gonna get 1% better every day by doing that. So I tell this to my my little U10s too. Like if you do something every day, like to get 1% better at whatever you want, like it's gonna add up eventually. And like March Madness is such a great opportunity to do something that like like us doing it, like you and I and Danielle and Steady and everyone else is doing this program, like being able to see what you could eventually be, like on the national team, if that's your goal, you see that these players are stick handling, like you should be doing that as well. It's like it's right in front of you. Like everyone has a phone. Um, pull up the video, grab your stick. It takes like 2 minutes to stick handle. Um, so I don't think it's too much effort. I think as long as you get the motivation to just do it and start small, like you could just stick handle for like 30 seconds in between like a work call and then done. You're done for the day. Like that was great. Next day, like maybe you'll go for like a minute. So start small and maybe it'll be one of those habit things that you can get into every day. But yeah, I don't
And that's
know. I love stick handling, so I'm like, I'll do it. So maybe I'm not the best person to give advice for that, but just start small and then before you know it, you'll love it and you'll be doing it whenever you have the free time.
Yeah, it's such good advice. I think this idea of like starting small and just like the act of getting started on day one might be the win. And then
Yeah,
by like day 15, you might be, going for your, 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. And it just kind of
yeah.
builds on itself. It's
Day
really
one,
cool.
just find your stick and a ball, put it down. Check. You're
Yeah,
close. Yeah,
exactly.
the baby
So
steps.
tell us about your week of stick handling. What are some of the things that folks should expect?
Well, so we're talking about my creativity this whole time. It's giving me like very unique things, I think. Um, just messing around with the ball, like toe drags, backhand toe drags, between the legs. It'll be a lot of like that fun kind of stuff. That like the more you get used to doing on your own, like you can try them in games and it's a lot of fun. And it's really cool, obviously, if you can pull them off. I know some of them I can do standing still, would never be able to do that in a game, but it's cool to learn and trying really hard moves on your own just increases your stick skills regardless if you're actually going to do that move or if you're just going to make one easy move to get around a D. Like it helps every way. So it'll be I'm going to come up with some like fun creative things for everyone to try.
Sweet, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have one final question for you, Huey. I was curious, like you're a professional, like you play in the NWHL, you're a professional player. But I was curious, like, who is someone that you admire when you think about? It could be in hockey, out of hockey, it doesn't matter. I was just curious, someone that you admire.
Someone that I admire. That's a good question. I think I'll give you two. because one, like my hockey idol growing up was Pavel Datsyuk. So I'm like, this guy is just amazing. And like his stick skills, and not only that, but like his vision and like his ability to make plays is just like unmatched. So he was my hockey idol growing up. I was like, I want to be like that. He's a great leader, you know, great off the ice. Like he's just like an overall such a great guy. And then like my personal like idol. My parents would be mad if I just pick one of them, but oh gosh, I'm gonna say my dad, just because he like is such a hard worker and he's like super competitive, but like at the end of the day, like he's just there to have fun and like whatever it's, and this isn't like anything he does. It's like all about the people, having fun, wants to win like more than anything in the world. But at the end of the day, it's like it's about who he's around and making sure that everyone has a good time. And I think that's something I try to idolize when I coach, when I play, because you know I love what I do and I love coaching and I love playing. Fortunately, I get to do that, so I try to make the most of it and keep passing that down to the athletes I coach. But yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that. I think, you know, I've had the privilege of playing with you on the USA ball hockey. I can definitely say you like encompass that piece of being like an awesome teammate, someone who's really competitive and wants to work hard and do whatever for the team. And at the same time, balancing that piece of community and the being with your teammates and so on. It just was an awesome pleasure playing with you, and can't wait to play with you again. So
yeah, I can't wait. Honestly, it's like killing me. Like,
yeah,
when?
yeah, let's play.
Yeah.
Well, Huey, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to your watching your March Madness videos, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the U20s posting their videos on the March
They
Madness
better.
website.
I'm watching you guys.
Out there stick handling, you know, every day, and that makes such a huge difference. Just as I've been to, I think, 4 international tournaments at this point, and just for the U20s, like everything that you're doing, like will make a difference. And just like, you know, that being that much more confident in one stick handling move today in your house actually like might actually translate to, you know, you making a move, you know, making that move feeling like really strong, you know, at the tournament or whatever. So it really does make a difference. And I
had known playing street hockey when I was 10 with my brothers would help me play at the world stage. Like, my God, I had no idea. Just having some, so just enjoy what you do, you know.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining, and thanks for doing all the videos. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. I'm so honored.
It was awesome. All right. Thanks, Huey.